I've ranked the top 100 STEM careers based on data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The top 70 are entirely based on the average or median rate of pay and also the projected growth of that career. And then the top 30 incorporate some ideas from my own subjective opinion based on talking to other people, researching, watching videos of other people in these careers. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with number 100. I'm going to be reading off of a Excel spreadsheet. If you want to look at this spreadsheet, it'll be linked down below. Let's get right into it. So number 100, we have atmospheric and space scientists. Awesome. So according to BLS, atmospheric scientists is placed under this general category of atmospheric scientists, including meteorologists. The median pay is $92,860 per year. Typically requires a bachelor's degree. There are about 9,900 jobs right now with a 6% job outlook, which is faster growth than average. That's pretty good. So essentially what these scientists do is they study, report on, and forecast the weather and climate. And the job environment typically involves working indoors for a weather station or in a laboratory, so it can be either of those. There are some good things here. Getting into number 99, we have agricultural engineers. The median pay for this career is $88,750 and typically requires a bachelor's. Job outlook is 8%. What do these people do? Agricultural engineers solve problems concerning power supplies, machine efficiency, the use of structures and facilities, and then other things related to the environment, storage, processing of these products, things like that. So that's a good career right there. Moving along, number 98, we have aerospace engineering and operations technologists and technicians. The median pay for this career is $77,000. There's a 8% faster than average growth for this career. What these people do is they run and maintain equipment used to develop, test, produce, and sustain aircraft and spacecraft. Usually requires an associate's degree or higher. Getting right into the next one, we have 97, and these are chemists. Chemist is under the chemists and material scientists label in BLS. The median pay for chemists is $87,000 a year with an 8% job outlook, which is faster than average. Chemists research and analyze the chemical properties of substances to develop new materials, products, or knowledge. There's a lot of things to like about chemistry. I really enjoy learning about it as someone who's done biology and things like that. Chemists typically need at least a bachelor's degree to enter the field, although it does help to have a master's or PhD, especially if you want to do any research as a chemist. Moving on to 96, we have architects. I have a few friends who are architects. They really enjoy it. In terms of the quick facts, we have a median salary of $93,000 a year, and then typically requires a bachelor's degree to get started. There's 127,000 jobs right now for this career, and then there's an 8%, which is a faster than average growth for this career. In terms of what they do, architects plan and design houses, factories, and other structures that are going to be used in society. And they spend a lot of their time in offices. So if someone likes office work and they like being creative and that technical aspect, architecture could be a good fit. And then moving on, we have civil engineers. Civil engineers, the median pay is $95,000 a year. Requires a bachelor's. There's a 6%, which is faster than average growth, and a lot of jobs out there. Civil engineers plan, design, and supervise the construction and maintenance of building and infrastructure projects. A lot of opportunities here in civil engineering. At 94, we have genetic counselors. Genetic counselors have a median pay of $95,000 a year. Typically requires a master's degree. There are not as many jobs compared to something like civil engineering with about 3,500 jobs, but there is job growth, 16%, which is much faster than average. Genetic counselors assess clients' risk for a variety of inherited conditions such as birth defects. And there's a lot of opportunities for this kind of work. I got to know a lot of genetic counselors while I worked at 23andMe, which is a genetic test kit company, and I'm sure there's some at other competitors like Ancestry. Good opportunities there. 93, we have orthotists and prosthetists. So the median pay for this career is $78,000 a year and typically requires a master's degree. There is a 15% job growth, which is much faster than average. These people measure, design, fit, and adapt medical devices such as supportive braces and artificial limbs for patients who have disabling conditions. If you're interested in helping people and you are okay pursuing a master's degree, there are some really exciting prospects here with a lot of growth. For 92, we have food scientists and technologists. This is under the agricultural and food scientist label in BLS. The median pay is $76,000 per year and requires a bachelor's degree. There are 37,000 jobs and 8% faster than average job outlook. These people research ways to improve the efficiency and safety of agricultural products and establishments. Next, we have epidemiologists. This is 91. Epidemiologists have a median pay of $81,000 a year. Typically requires a master's degree. There are 11,000 jobs and then a 19% job outlook, which is much faster than average. Epidemiologists are public health workers who investigate patterns and causes of disease and injury. Some cool opportunities here. Next, we have audiologists. Audiologists diagnose, manage, and treat patients who have hearing, balance, or related problems. The median salary is $87,000, and there are 14,000 jobs with an 11% job outlook, which is much faster than average. Moving into the next chunk, we have web developers and digital designers. So web developers have a median pay of $92,000. Require a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of jobs, about 200,000 with an 8% job outlook. Web developers create and maintain websites. They design, develop, create, test website or interface layout, functions, things like that. Some cool opportunities there. I have a few friends who do this. They enjoy the work. It can be conducive to remote work if that's interesting to people. Next, we have chiropractors. The median pay is $76,000 a year. Chiropractors require a doctoral level degree. There are 61,000 jobs with a 10% job outlook. Chiropractors assess, treat, and care for patients by manipulating the spine and musculoskeletal system. Next, we have respiratory therapists. Respiratory therapists have a median pay of $77,000 a year, require an associate's degree. There are 133,000 jobs out there with a 13% job outlook. Respiratory therapists care for patients who have trouble breathing. And there are a lot of different ways that you can go about doing that and getting this training at a community college, other opportunities. So this is good with good job growth. And then we have physical therapists. The median pay for a physical therapist is $99,000 a year, requires a doctoral level degree. And then there are a lot of jobs, 259,000. It's a 14% job growth, which is much higher than average. Let me just adjust this brightness real quick. Okay. And then there are 14%, I did say that. Physical therapists help injured or ill people improve movement and manage pain. There are a lot of opportunities and a lot of need for physical therapists, so this is a good career for anyone interested, if someone's okay with the doctoral level schooling. And then next we have occupational health and safety specialists. This median pay is $77,000 a year with 153,000 jobs and then 14% job outlook. How to become one? Typically these people need a bachelor's degree and then a lot of on-the-job training to be able to do this well. Next up, we have mechanical engineers. Mechanical engineers have a median salary of $99,000 a year. There are a lot of jobs out here. Same with civil engineering. just tons of jobs. In mechanical engineering, there's 291,000 jobs with an 11% job outlook. These kinds of engineers design, develop, build, and test mechanical and thermal sensors and devices. Next, we have industrial engineers, so more engineers. The median salary for industrial engineering people is $99,000. They require a bachelor's degree. There's 300,000 jobs and a 12% job outlook. Industrial engineers design, develop, and test integrated systems for managing industrial production processes. There's a lot of opportunity here. Same with a lot of the engineering specialties. Next up, we have financial analysts. This isn't necessarily seeming as STEMmy as something like a chemist or a biologist necessarily, but since there's so much math involved in financial analysis, I did want to include them in this video. So we have a median pay of $99,000, requiring a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of jobs, about 404,000, and then there's a 9% job outlook, which is great. Okay, financial analysts guide businesses and individuals in decisions about expending money to attain profit. I have a few friends who do financial analyst work, and there are some really exciting opportunities here. It can be really fun if someone has a mind for it and really likes math and financial thinking. Some cool things there. Next, we have diagnostic medical sonographers. The median pay for this career is $80,000 a year, requires at least an associate's degree. There are 140,000 jobs, and there's an 11% job outlook. These people operate special equipment to create images or to conduct tests, and they usually work in healthcare settings. Next, we have dental hygienists. If someone's interested in dentistry but they don't quite want to pursue the doctoral level DDS degree, this could be a good option. The dental hygienist median pay is $87,000 a year, requires an associate's degree, and there are 200,000 jobs, so there are a lot out there, and then there's a 9% job outlook. Dental hygienists examine patients for all signs of oral diseases and then oral hygiene. Work in dental offices. Next, we have clinical and counseling psychologists. Psychologists have a median pay of $92,000 a year, and there are about 200,000 jobs with a 7% job outlook. Psychologists study cognitive, emotional, and social processes and behavior by observing, interpreting, and recording how people relate to each other and to their environments. Typically, psychologists need at least a master's degree, although a doctoral degree is often recommended. Podiatrists is up next. Podiatrists are people who provide medical and surgical care for people with foot, ankle, and lower leg problems. These people require a doctoral level degree. The median pay is $141,000 a year, and there are 9,000 jobs. The job outlook is slower than average. It's this high up because of the high pay relative to some of the other ones, so that is something to keep in mind there. Next, we have physical scientists. Physical scientists, they have a median pay of $112,000, and there are 34,000 people employed as physical scientists. Physicists is another way to think about it. And then the growth rate is 2%, which is slower than average, but these people have a high wage, which is great. Typically require at least a bachelor's degree, but really to do a lot of physics work requires a PhD. Petroleum engineering is up next. Petroleum engineers have a median pay of $135,000 a year. They require a bachelor's degree. There are 20,000 jobs out there and a 2% job outlook. Petroleum engineers devise methods to improve oil and gas extraction and production. I don't have any direct experience or friends in this field, but like all other engineering specialties, there are some cool opportunities with good paying jobs. Next, we have mining and geological engineers. This subfield of engineering has a median pay of $100,000 with a bachelor's degree required to enter into it. There are 7,000 jobs and a 2% job outlook. These engineers design mines to safely and efficiently remove minerals for use in manufacturing and utilities. A lot of things potentially to like here. Next, we have one of our first physician careers. So this is specifically pediatricians. I'll just mention that a lot of the physician subspecialties are branched under this category called physicians and surgeons under BLS. That said, pediatricians still fall under that median wage of about $239,000 a year. Pediatricians do tend to make the lower quartile of wages among physicians, so that's something to keep in mind, but it's still an extremely good salary. Requires a MD or DO and then residency to get into it. If someone really likes working with kids and they love science, this could be a good option. Next, we have pediatric surgeons. Similar stats all around to pediatricians generally, focusing on the surgical aspect. So if someone likes kids and they also like working with their hands and being meticulous and detail oriented, this could be something to consider. Next up, we have orthopedic surgeons. Orthopedic surgeons are extremely interesting and extremely well paid. So they are often one of the most competitive residencies, and they're also often ranked as one of the most highest paying residencies as well. Although the median pay for physicians and surgeons is about $239,000, orthopedic surgeons usually get over $500,000, $600,000 a year. It does take some work to get into it, and it can be a competitive residency. And I'm not a surgeon or anything, but just from the research I've done, it can be an extremely rewarding career for the right person. We also have orthodontists on this list. These are dentists dentists generally diagnose and treat problems with patients' teeth, gums, and related parts of the mouth. Orthodontists specialize in specific aspects of dentistry. Median pay for a dentist is $170,000, requires a doctorate, and then there are 160,000 jobs with a 5% job outlook. Next, we have oral and maxillofacial surgeons. These have a lot of the same characteristics as an orthodontist in that they're part of the dentistry umbrella for BLS, although there are some perks that come with it, generally higher pay and that surgical aspect if people are interested in that. We also have ophthalmologists, again another physician subspecialty. A lot of cool opportunities here for people who are interested. And then again, another physician specialty. We have obstetricians and gynecologists. People who are really interested in the whole system of pregnancy and birth could go into this field, and it can be extremely rewarding is what I hear. Again, not a physician, but just from my own research getting interested in it. Next up, we have medical dosimetrists. The median pay for this field is $132,000 a year. Requires a bachelor's degree, so getting away from all the doctorate level careers that we just looked at. These people calculate doses of radiation and design and oversee treatment plans for patients with cancer and other serious diseases, which is really important work. That's awesome that they do that. Next, we have mathematicians and statisticians. This has a median pay of $104,000, requires a master's degree. There are 34,000 jobs with an 11% job outlook. These people analyze data and apply computational techniques to solve problems. Okay, next we have teachers, like post-secondary teachers. These are teachers who teach beyond high school. The median pay is $84,000, and there are a lot of jobs, over 1 million, and there is an 8% job outlook. Generally, this requires a PhD because teaching at the postsecondary level requires that doctorate, although a master's can work at some places. Next, we have economists. Median pay for an economist is $115,000 in a year, and then it requires a master's degree. There are 17,000 jobs with a 5% job outlook. Economists conduct research, prepare reports, and evaluate issues related to monetary and fiscal policy. They also may collect and analyze statistical data. Next, we have cardiologists, another physician subspecialty. These are really good opportunities for people interested in the heart. Next, we have atmospheric, earth, marine, and space science teachers. So teachers who are teaching these things. And this falls under the post-secondary teacher umbrella. That's just how BLS identifies it, so we don't have to go too much into that. Next, we have architecture teachers, which also has a lot of the same characteristics as post-secondary teacher generally, just focusing on architecture specifically. Next, we have air traffic controllers. The median pay for an air traffic controller is $137,000. It requires an associate's degree to get into it, generally with some additional training. And then there are 24,000 jobs with a 3% job outlook. So these people coordinate the movement of aircraft to maintain safe distances between them. Next, we have radiologists, another physician subspecialty which can be really rewarding for the right person interested in this career. We covered psychologists, which is the next one. Earlier we covered a subspecialty. This is focusing on the general psychology career. So just to recap, median pay is $92,000 a year with 200,000 jobs and a 7% job outlook. Next, we have health and safety engineers. So these people have a median pay of $103,000 a year. There are 23,000 jobs with a 5% job outlook, and these require a bachelor's degree. Health and safety engineers apply their knowledge of industrial processes, mechanics, psychology, and other disciplines to promote worksite or product safety. And then we have another physician subspecialty, general internal medicine physicians. Great opportunity here for people interested. And then we have 3 more physician subspecialties. We have emergency medicine physicians. These, it's typically recommended, I hear from people who are physicians, that if someone's very extroverted, that could be a good fit in terms of emergency medicine for them. You're leading teams in high pressure environments, but if that's attractive to someone to be able to take the lead and help people health-wise, that could be cool. And then we also have anesthesiologists. Next, we have family medicine physicians. So these two can be really good for the right person. Anesthesiologists, you apply anesthesia to patients to make sure that they're taken care of and that they're not, super conscious if something needs to go, if some procedure needs to happen when they're under. And then family medicine, they're often considered the first line of defense in the health setting to help people with their different conditions. Overall, really, really great opportunities there. We've covered a lot of engineering specialties, but next up is all other engineers, which basically is an umbrella category for engineering subspecialties we haven't talked about yet. There are a lot of opportunities, about 161,000 of these kinds of engineers with a median wage of $111,000. I wanted to move because there were a few dogs that were barking really loud, so hopefully that wasn't too distracting. Getting right into more of these careers, at the next slot we have dentist, so general dentist, recap of dentist job outlook and quick facts. We have a median salary of $170,000 a year. Requires a doctorate, which is a Doctor of Dental Science, a DDS. And then there are 160,000 jobs with a 5% job outlook. Dentists diagnose and treat problems with patients' teeth, gums, and related parts of the mouth. Some dentists have their own business and work alone or with a small staff, but other dentists work in a different kind of practice with partners. There's a lot of potential ways to be a dentist. If someone's interested in the oral health system, and then they're also interested in working with people and they love school, this could be a really good option. Next up, we have speech language pathologists. The median salary for this career is $89,000 a year. It requires a master's degree. There are 180,000 jobs, which is quite a lot. And there is an 18% job outlook, which is very fast, much faster than average. Speech language pathologists assess and treat people who have communication disorders. I have friends who are doing this right now or are training to do this, both, basically friends who are doing both, and they really report liking this career. There's a lot of interesting science behind it and a lot of interesting work that you get to do in terms of relating with people. So this could be a good option for someone who likes science, who maybe doesn't quite want to do a doctorate, but is okay doing a master's and likes working with people, with a lot of job growth. Next up, we have occupational therapists. The median salary is $96,000 a year, requires a master's degree. There are 150,000 jobs with an 11% job outlook, which is quite fast. Occupational therapists evaluate and treat people who have injuries, illnesses, or disabilities to help them with vocational, daily living, and other skills that promote independence. Next, we have pharmacists. Pharmacists require a doctoral level degree, which is a D-Pharm, so Doctor of Pharmacy. 1 second, real quick. Okay, so the median pay for a pharmacist is $136,000 per year, and it requires a doctorate, as we said. There are a lot of jobs, 337,000 jobs, and a 5% job outlook. So pharmacists dispense prescription medications and provide information to patients about the drugs and their use. I have a friend right now who has been a pharmacist for some time. He really enjoys the lifestyle and the fact that he gets to do interesting health work that's also paid well. Some really cool benefits here if someone's okay doing the doctorate. Next, we have neurologists, which is another physician subspecialty. A lot of cool opportunities here for the right person who is interested in the mind and the brain and how it works, but maybe doesn't want to do a surgical subspecialty. Next, we have marine engineers and naval architects. The median pay for this career is $100,000, requires a bachelor's degree, and there are 10,000 jobs with an 8% job outlook. Marine engineers and naval architects design, develop, and evaluate the operation of marine vessels, ship machinery, and related equipment. And next, we have dermatologists, another physician subspecialty. This one is a little higher on the list because although the projected number of new jobs isn't necessarily super high, the dermatologist subspecialty is pretty coveted because of a few factors. Like, it's a very good lifestyle specialty is something that I've learned in my research. So for example, it doesn't require 100-hour weeks or anything like that. It's generally a more set schedule, and it's not necessarily a surgical specialty. It's also really highly paid. So dermatology is generally over $400,000 a year, which is like quite a lot. It's one of the most competitive residencies for physicians as well, but can be really cool for the right person who's interested in the skin, which is our largest organ. Next, we have physicists and astronomers. So we talked a little bit about, just astronomers, my bad, because we did talk about just physicists. So astronomers, the median pay is $149,000 a year. It does require a PhD. There are 23,000 jobs and a 7% job outlook. Astronomers study the interactions of matter and energy, particularly focused on space, which is really cool. I think if I was 10 years old again and I wanted to redo my life, I would probably consider astrophysics. I think it's so exciting. There's so many interesting things there. So anyone who's interested in that and they want to go all the way, do the PhD, Definitely recommend it. Not that I have personal experience, but it just seems really cool. Next up, we have sales engineers. The median pay is $116,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree, and there are 59,000 jobs with a 6% job outlook. Sales engineers sell business products or services such as software or support that require technical expertise. A lot of sales engineers that I know personally have a bachelor's in engineering or computer science, so they have that technical background, but they also like chatting with people. So for example, I have a friend who's a sales engineer who didn't want to become a software engineer, even though he's good at it, because he didn't want to just code. He wanted to use his technical knowledge to work in a team and do more social stuff. So for him, it's a good fit, and it could be a good fit for other people as well. Next, we have psychiatry, which is becoming a really interesting specialty to me. This is also in the lower third of physician salaries, with closer to the median salary for physicians of $239,000. Psychiatrists think about the biological and psychological things that go into a patient's mental health. So physiology, anatomy, and then also understanding mental health disorders. If people really like hearing people's stories and they're fascinated by the brain, I've heard that this can be a really interesting specialty for those kinds of people. It also is a good lifestyle medical specialty. Physicists, we talked about that. I don't think this is a duplicate. I think previously it was talking about physical scientists who aren't necessarily physicists, so I might have misstated that earlier. Physicists fall under the same category as astronomers under BLS. So a lot of the same stats, $149,000, requires a PhD. I will say, I don't think I really mentioned it, physicists and then astronomers too work in offices, research laboratories, and observatories. And then people can work in academia or industry as a physicist. I know some people who do their PhD in physics become quantitative financial analysts, which can pay quite a lot. So that can be an interesting specialty for someone who likes physics but also likes math. Well, every physicist likes math, but who also likes finances. Next, we have materials engineers. The median pay for this career is $104,000, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 25,000 jobs with a 7% job outlook. Materials engineers develop, process, and test materials used to create a wide range of products. These people generally work in offices where they get to work on a computer to design equipment. There can be some potentially interesting opportunities here. Next, we have financial risk specialist, which is a specialization of financial analyst that especially focuses on risk. The stats are pretty similar, although since this is a specialty, it could pay more potentially. Again, financial analysts have a median pay of $99,000 per year, require a bachelor's degree. There are 404,000 jobs with a 9% job outlook. Next, we have environmental engineers. Environmental engineers have a median pay of $100,000, require a bachelor's degree. There are 41,000 jobs, and there's a 7% job outlook. Environmental engineers use engineering disciplines in developing solutions to problems of planetary health. A bachelor's degree is needed. Some people decide to go for further education, especially if they're interested in doing research in environmental engineering. This is true of a lot of STEM disciplines too. Like if someone's interested in research, it really is recommended to do a master's or ideally a PhD to be able to make those research contributions. Same is true with environmental engineering, but it's not required if someone doesn't do research. Next up, we have commercial pilots. The median pay for a commercial pilot is $171,000. There are 152,000 jobs, quite a lot, And then there's a 5% job outlook. Commercial pilots fly and navigate airplanes, helicopters, and other aircraft. Let me do something real quick. Okay. Sweet. All right, let's continue along. Next up, we have bioengineers and biomedical engineers. The median pay is $100,000 a year. It requires a bachelor's degree. There are 19,000 jobs with a 7% job outlook. Bioengineers and biomedical engineers combine engineering principles with sciences to design and create equipment, devices, computer systems, and software. There are opportunities in biomedical engineering for sure. I think of things like medical devices, prosthetics, and then more in terms of developing more health-related things using engineering principles. Lots of cool opportunities potentially. Another engineering specialty, aerospace engineers. The median pay for aerospace engineer is $130,000 a year, requires a bachelor's. There are 68,000 jobs with a 6% job outlook. Aerospace engineers design, develop, and test aircraft, spacecraft, satellites, and missiles. I don't know anything about aerospace engineering, but it seems pretty cool. Planes are cool. Next, we have natural science managers. The median pay is $157,000. The typical entry-level education is a bachelor's degree. There are 100,000 jobs. There is an 8% job outlook. And then natural sciences managers plan, supervise, or coordinate research and other activities in fields such as life sciences, physical sciences, mathematics, and statistics. Next, we have database administrators. Database administrator median salary is $117,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 141,000 jobs with a 9% job outlook. Database administrators and architects create or organize systems to store and secure data. Next, we have computer hardware engineers. The median salary is $138,000 per year, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 84,000 jobs with a 7% job outlook. Computer hardware engineers research, design, develop, and test computer systems and components. And then we have architectural and engineering managers. The median pay is $165,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree to get into it. There are 200,000 jobs with a 6% job outlook. Architectural and engineering managers plan, direct, and coordinate activities in the fields of architecture and engineering. And then getting into the top 30, I mentioned earlier that I did, even more so than previous items on this list, some shuffling around depending on any X factors that I think bring a career down or bring it up, depending on my subjective experience. I haven't worked all these careers, obviously, but just based on research and what other people in these careers have told me or written on the website, online, on YouTube, or on other forums or anywhere else on the internet, I did shuffle things around. So getting into the top 30, we have chemists and material scientists. Just to clarify, this is the same category, umbrella category that chemists was under. This is focusing a little bit more on the material sciences portion of that. So material scientist median pay is at $87,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 96,000 jobs with an 8% job outlook. And chemists and material scientists research and analyze the chemical properties of substances to develop new materials, products, or knowledge. And then next we have pathologists. Pathologists is up here. There are just so many interesting opportunities for people interested in pathology. This is really looking at a lot of slides under the microscope to identify patient pathologies. it can be a little bit more isolated than something like emergency medicine, which requires a lot of extroversion. This can be good for introverts though. Next we have statisticians. This falls under the mathematicians and statisticians for BLS. Again, 104,000 median pay, requires a master's with 34,000 jobs and an 11% job outlook. Next we have optometrists. Optometrists median pay is $131,000 a year, requires a doctorate. There are 49,000 jobs with a 9% job outlook. Optometrists diagnose, manage, and treat conditions and diseases of the human eye and visual system, including examining eyes and prescribing corrective lenses. And then we have engineering professors. So these particular professors, there is actually a lot of growth in this area of university professors. So that can be a good opportunity for anyone who wants to do a PhD in engineering. Next we have chemical engineers. The median pay is $112,000 a year, requires a bachelor's to get into it. There are 21,000 jobs with a 10% job outlook. Chemical engineers applied the principles of chemistry, physics, and engineering to design equipment and processes for manufacturing products such as gasoline, detergents, and paper. Next up, we have biochemists and biophysicists. The median pay for this career is $107,000 a year, requires a doctorate. There are 35,000 jobs and a 9% job outlook. So these people study the chemical and physical principles of living things and of biological processes. Next up, we have nurse anesthetists. I can't even pronounce that. It falls under the nurse anesthetists, then nurse midwives, and nurse practitioners. These are grouped together by BLS. The median pay is $129,000 a year, requires a master's. There are a lot of jobs, 349,000, and it's really high on this list because the job outlook is insane. It's 40%, which is much faster than average. There are just so many jobs in this area. What do these people do? They coordinate patient care and may provide primary and specialty health care. They do need to be registered nurses before getting that additional master's level training. People who go into this though have good careers. I have a number of family members who are in nursing, and then I have a family member who's a nurse practitioner who really enjoys that work. Next, we have electrical and electronics engineers. The median salary is $109,000. It requires a bachelor's degree. There are 287,000 jobs with a 9% job outlook. Electrical engineers design, develop, test, and supervise the manufacture of electrical equipment. We have database architects next, which we definitely did cover database administrators, but BLS lumps both of them together here. So again, the median pay for this umbrella category is $117,000 a year. It requires a bachelor's degree. A lot of jobs, 140,000 with a 9% job outlook. And then in database architect specifically, there's between 5,000 to 10,000 new jobs that are projected to be created, which is great. Okay, next we have computer and information research scientists. So think of anyone who does computer science, except they focus on the research part of it. They're not necessarily just making software for a website. They're really getting into the hardcore computer science, the novel research part of it. The median pay for this kind of career is $145,000 a year. It requires a master's at least, and then there are 36,000 jobs, and the job outlook is high. It's 26%. And then these people design innovative uses for new and existing computing technology. Great. And then we are continuing along. Financial managers is next. This is another one, like financial analyst earlier, that I decided to include in STEM because there is a lot of math involved. Even though there is that business side as well, the math foundation and the economic foundation, I think, warrants inclusion in the STEM. With that in mind, the median pay is $156,000 a year. It requires a bachelor's degree. There are a lot of jobs here. There are 837,000 with a 17% job outlook. Quite fast, faster than average, much faster. Financial managers create financial reports, direct investment activities, and develop plans for the long-term financial goals of their organization. Next, we have actuaries, who have a median pay of $120,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 30,000 jobs with a 22% job outlook, which is, again, much faster than average. Actuaries use mathematics, statistics, and financial theory to analyze the economic costs of risk and uncertainty. We also have medical and health services managers. The median salary is $110,000 a year. They require a bachelor's degree. There are a ton of jobs, 562,000, and then the job outlook is very high. It's 29%, much faster than average. These people plan, direct, and coordinate the business activities of healthcare providers. Next up, we have veterinarians. Veterinarians have a median salary of $119,000 a year. They require a doctorate. There are 88,000 jobs out there and a 19% job outlook. Veterinarians care for the health of animals and work to protect public health. I had a number of friends who were doing their doctorate in veterinary medicine when I was doing my master's in insect biology, and a lot of them really love animals when they really wanted to use that and they wanted to do health for animals. So for them, it's a really natural fit, and I know that they can really enjoy it. It can be hard work, but it can be really rewarding work. Next up, we have software quality assurance analysts and testers. So these people, the median pay is $130,000 a year. There are a wild amount of jobs. There's 1.8 million jobs, and there's a 17% job outlook, which is much faster than average. Software quality assurance analysts and testers identify problems with applications or programs and report defects. So I should clarify, I'm realizing that BLS also lumps software developers under this, and that is a little bit different from software quality assurance analysts and testers. I get why they included both though. Next, we have physician assistants. The median pay is $130,000 a year. It requires a master's degree. There are 153,000 jobs with a 28% job outlook, which is very fast. Physician assistants examine, diagnose, and treat patients under the supervision of a physician. And then we have medical scientists, except for epidemiologists, just because epidemiology is a little bit separate. The median pay is $100,000 a year, requires a doctorate. There are 146,000 jobs with an 11% job outlook. Medical scientists conduct research aimed at improving overall human health. And then these people have a PhD in biology or a related science. And then we have electrical engineers. We covered electronics engineers a little bit, and this is in the same category. Just a recap: median pay $109,000, bachelor's degree 287,000 jobs, and then 9% job outlook, which is great. And then we have computer network architects. The median pay is $129,000, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 177,000 jobs with a 13% job outlook. So computer network architects design and implement data communication networks, including local area networks, etc. Okay, we are in the top 10. And again, this is my personal opinion. It's totally cool if other people disagree. And this is just based on the projected number of new jobs, pay, my own opinion for different X factors. Okay, so in this area, this is a university teacher that focuses on health specialties. And there are a ton of jobs. There's expected to be 50,000 or more in this specialty. And the median pay is 84,000. So even though this isn't the highest paying, just the fact that there's so many new jobs that are expected to be in this area makes me want to put it pretty high. So that can be really good. Next, we have computer and information systems managers. The median pay is quite high for just a bachelor's degree. It is $169,000 a year. And there are 613,000 jobs with a 17% job outlook. So there are expected to be 106,000 jobs within the next 10 years that open up in this area. Computer and information system managers plan, coordinate, and direct computer-related activities in an organization. And then we have registered nurses. I just think the RN career is so good. Like, the job growth percentage-wise isn't super fast. It's 6%. But it's just one of those bread and butter careers that is so good. Like, it will always be really good. And the median pay is $86,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 3 million jobs in it. And then within the next 10 years, there's expected to be 197,000 new RN positions opening. Registered nurses provide and coordinate patient care and educate patients and the public about various health conditions. Again, I just think it's so good. So I had to put it really high. And then in number 7, we have computer systems analysts. There's a lot of opportunity here with a median pay of $103,000 a year, requires a bachelor's degree. There are 527,000 jobs and then an 11% job outlook. Within the next 10 years, there's expected to be 56,000 new computer system analyst jobs that open up. These people study an organization's computer systems and design ways to improve efficiency. Okay. We did talk about nurse practitioners a little bit. What's cool about nurse practitioners specifically is that there are expected to be more than 50,000 new nurse practitioner jobs that open up in the next 10 years. And the pay is great, $129,000 a year, requires a master's. And there's just so much opportunity here for anyone who's interested in this specialization of nursing. Next, we have information security analysts. This includes people who are doing cybersecurity. So a cybersecurity analyst, pen tester, all that sort of stuff. The median pay is $120,000 a year with a bachelor's degree needed to get into it. There are 180,000 jobs with a 33% job outlook, which again is just crazy. There are expected to be 59,000 new information security analyst positions that open up in the next 10 years. These people plan and carry out security measures to protect an organization's computer networks and systems. Wrapping up, we have this category that says physicians all other. This is just to point out the fact that there are a ton of new physician specialties that are going to be opening up in the next 10 years that incorporate a lot of the things that we haven't talked about in terms of physician specialties. Okay, let's get into the top 3. So based on BLS data and based on my opinion, I think in 3rd place, we have software developers, which also incorporates software engineering for BLS. Software developer is just such a good career because the floor is really good. By floor, I mean the entry level, just getting started pay. At the really low end, it might be like 50, 60K just to get started. But generally, it's going to be higher than that. And then the ceiling is crazy. Some people who are really senior software engineers can make several $100,000 a year, which is really, really awesome. with just a bachelor's degree. It's kind of wild. And then there's just so much growth here, so many opportunities. Overall, just a really good career. The fact that it can be pretty flexible, it can be really intensive depending on what people want. That is so cool. And number two, I have to put it to data scientists. It's like software developer. It's just so good for so many reasons. High pay. You just need a bachelor's degree. It can be hard to get into for people who are just getting into it, but for people who really have a good baseline to get into it, it can be really rewarding. The median pay is $108,000 a year. Requires a bachelor's degree, although sometimes data scientists have a master's or doctorate. I will say that there are job postings out there that require a master's in computer science or a PhD in physics. Things like that are not absurd or anything. Those can be requested or required by certain jobs. Though the number of jobs is 202,000 with a 36% job outlook, which is just so high, like crazy. So there's just so much opportunity here for the right person who really likes data, who likes quantitative reasoning, and is okay with high-level math and working with some interesting quantitative stuff. All right, number one, I had to give it to a specific kind of surgery. For me, I have to put neurosurgery at the top. I just think it's so interesting because it's a really specific skill set that someone needs to be able to do it well. And it's really hard. So someone has to go through medical school and then get into a really selective residency to get into neurosurgery. It's also the longest residency training program. It takes 7 years. So after bachelor's, which is 4 years, another 4 years for med school, and then another 7 years for neurosurgery. But I just think it's one of the most interesting things that a physician can do. And then the pay reflects the challenge and the really particular work required. The median salary for neurosurgeons is about $730,000 a year, which is just wild. It is the highest paid specialty in terms of median pay. It requires all that stuff we talked about. I just think that is part of my subjective ranking because I'm fascinated by the brain and science, and it's just something I'm just thinking about. And so I have to put it at the top. But that's my list. It's partially data, partially my opinion. I hope this was helpful, especially for people who are maybe newer in their career, thinking about what kinds of careers they want to look into. Maybe they're just starting college or a career changer or just out of personal interest. However this video approached you, I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching.